What's going on, everybody? This is Walt from TechTheory with our first tech review video. Now today I'll be reviewing the ASUS GL703 gaming laptop. Now this is a 17-inch laptop, and there is a 15-inch version of this very same laptop that is the GL503 gaming laptop, also by ASUS. I will leave both of them linked in the description below. Now, this is a powerhouse of a laptop that I've personally been using for nearly a year now, and I've fallen in love with it. But before we get into how much I love it, let's talk a little bit about the specs. Now, when it comes to the processor in this unit, there are two different options that you can choose between. The i7-7700HQ and the i5-7300HQ. Now, talking of the i7, that is a 4-core, 8-thread processor that has a base clock of 2.8 gigahertz and overclocks to 3.8 gigahertz. Now, the i5, on the other hand, is a 4-core, 4-thread processor that has a base clock of 2.5 gigahertz and overclocks to 3.5 gigahertz. Now, when talking of the graphics in this system, you also have two choices there. You have the GTX 1060 and you have the GTX 1050 Ti. Now, both of these graphics cards are wonderful for gaming and productivity. My personal unit has a GTX 1060 in it, and I have no complaints. It's a wonderful card and it does everything that I need it to. Now, when it comes to memory in this unit, you get 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory out of the box, and it is max upgradable to 32 gigabytes of memory. Now, when you talk of storage in this device, there are a plethora of various storage combinations you can make. In terms of hard drives, you have a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte SATA hard drive. You can also get a 1 terabyte hybrid drive, which is basically somewhere in between an SSD and a hard drive. It's definitely faster than a normal hard drive, but not quite to the speeds of an SSD. This hybrid drive comes with an 8 gigabyte cache. Now, in terms of SSDs, you can get a 128, 256, or 512 gigabyte SSD, SATA or PCIe Gen 3. Now, moving on to connectivity, this laptop has 802.11 AC Wi-Fi and built-in Bluetooth 4.2. Now, when it comes to I/O on this laptop, it is definitely not lacking. It has a combo microphone and headphone port, 3.5mm jack. It has one Type-C USB 3.0 port. It has 4 USB 3.0 Type-A ports. It has an RJ45 LAN jack, an HDMI port, a mini display port, along with the power port and a Kensington lock. Now, the audio tech on this laptop includes a 3.5 watt speaker and a built-in microphone. The mic and webcam on this model is okay. It's not as great as the ones on some of the other ones. This laptop also comes with a 64 watt-hour battery. Now, in terms of battery life, this is a pretty good laptop for battery life. If I give it a full charge and I'm using it lightly to take notes or to browse the internet randomly throughout the day, I get it through most of my day. My day ends around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and I can come home and I should still have a little bit of juice, but probably need to put it on charge. Now, when you're talking of gaming with this laptop, well, that's when things change a bit. If you're playing a heavy game such as Overwatch, for instance, which is my game of choice, you get about an hour and a half to 2 hours max on that battery life. 2 hours is more unheard of, but it is possible to get it out of here. Now, moving on to performance, its Geekbench score for the single-core category is 4,226, where in the multi-core category, it is 13,196. Now, you can use these scores and compare these to other laptops online or your personal laptops. If you want to download the Geekbench app, I will leave it in the description below, and you can test your own stuff. Now, it fares pretty well when we talk about AAA games, such as Overwatch, Black Ops 3. I've even played No Man's Sky on it a little bit. Now, No Man's Sky is a pretty intense game, so that one does have some stuttering, at least when you're loading up, but when I've been in game, it's gave me a pretty good experience, to be honest. Now, when we talk about the productivity side of this laptop, using Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Premiere, I've really had a wonderful experience with it, honestly. Now, I'm not saying to go out and buy you a red camera, not the color red, but the company red, and try to edit 8K videos, 4K videos on this computer. Not to say it couldn't handle it, but you might not get that silky smooth performance that I'm getting editing my 1080p videos. Now, I've said a lot of positives about this laptop, but I do have a few complaints with it, and most of them are minor details, but you have to have a flip side of the good part of this coin. Now, this laptop is extremely loud. I mean, guys, this laptop is loud, at least when you're under load. Now, if you're generally using it, browsing the internet, even if you're playing like some small time games, like if you load up like a decent like small modded version of Minecraft maybe, it's pretty like easy going. But if you load up something like Overwatch, Black Ops 3, you're going to get some really loud fan noise. And I mean, the computer does keep itself below about 75 degrees Celsius. Like that's the max temp I've ever seen on it. At least while the fans were blowing. I did have one weird fan issue, but it wasn't a big enough thing to cause a problem. It was a driver issue. But, you know, it does get really loud. Now, also, like I said before, this is a behemoth of a laptop. Now, the dimensions on this are 16.3 by 11 by 0.94 inches, and it weighs about 6.7 pounds. That's a big laptop. So this laptop is not for the faint of heart. You're going to need to, you know, want this laptop, and you don't really want to carry it around all day, especially if you, I don't know, have a bad back or if you have small desk, like in college. It's not the best thing to carry around to class. But, you know, it does fit certain niches, and we will talk about that in a little bit. Now, some other problems that I've had is I had this weird stuttering issue with it. I'd be using the mouse, or either wireless or the trackpad, and the pointer would freeze up on me, and the whole computer would just freeze for a moment, and then it'd go back to normal. This seems to have been fixed with some of the more recent NVIDIA graphics drivers updates, but I don't have enough time using it since those updates to tell if it's completely fixed the problem. But it was just a minor issue, and so far I've had no issues. Now, there is also an issue that I've had lately, not when I first got the laptop, but the keys tend to stick sometimes, and it's random ones. Like I could be typing and the E key might stick for a second, and you'll type 2, 3 E's, where you just wanted to type 1. Now, this isn't because I've spilt Coke on it or I have greasy fingers touching it. You know, I try to keep my hands clean with the brushed aluminum top and everything because it does retain fingerprints and oils. So, you know, I try to keep my hands clean while I'm using it. So I'm really not sure where that sticking issue is coming from. It's not unusable. It's just on the occasion I do have that issue. And it's kind of annoying at times. Now, all in all, this laptop is not for everyone. It is huge and it is loud and it is more powerful than what some people need. Now, if you're a commuter that wants to pull out this thinner light on the train or the bus, or you're a college student who wants this laptop every day in class, this is not your laptop. That laptop is going to be a 2-in-1 or something smaller because this laptop is huge. And I speak from experience. The first week of college, I tried to use it in class, and the desks are just way too small to support it. You're bumping over into everyone else's elbow room, especially if you're in a big lecture hall, and it's just not comfortable, and you just look weird pulling it out. And I speak from experience. I look like a freaking weirdo pulling this laptop out in the middle of my history class where our elbows are all like this. So you don't really want to use it for that purpose. But now, if you're a huge heavy time gamer and you don't want the hassle of buying or building a desktop and you want this laptop for your at-home gaming, then this is probably for you, especially considering the price range it's in. Now, this laptop is $1,200, round about that. It does fluctuate from time to time. I got mine personally for around $1,200, and that is an expensive laptop, but not compared to the performance it gives you. Now, you have other laptops that are cheaper, but you're not going to have the performance and the beautiful screen that this computer offers you. Now, there are also some computers that are more expensive. You have MacBooks that are more expensive that don't quite have the best specs compared to this laptop. And you do have other ASUS and other Windows laptops that are more expensive, and they're worth the money, I guess, because of the internal components, but at the same time, they're costly, and you may not want to spend that. So this $1,200 price point is a great medium point. It's not budget, but it's not enthusiast. It's just a great laptop for a fairly decent price. Now, if you're an engineering student, if you're a multimedia person, if you're a graphic designer, if you make videos, anything like that, and you need a laptop to carry around the house, to sit on the couch and, to do some of your video editing, you don't want to be tied to a desk or anything like that. Or even in some business situations, I could see this laptop being feasible, maybe more the 15-inch rather than the 17-inch, but it could still be feasible for you because this laptop packs a beautiful screen and a whole lot of horsepower. This is perfect for 3D modeling, simulation, video rendering, photo editing, anything like that, and especially gaming. This is a great laptop for that. But just know that it's big, it's bulky, it's heavy, and it might not be what you want. Now, me personally, I love this laptop, but I do recognize that it's not for the faint of heart, and it's not for everybody. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Tech Theory, our first tech review video on the channel. Now, if you'd like to see more of these videos, please hit the subscribe button and click that little bell so you hear the next time that we post a video. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up as well. And if you didn't, well, you know what to do. Also, check out my website. It'll be linked down below, and you can see some of our other projects and some of the services that TechTheory offers, which are pretty good and they're fairly priced. And you can also just contact me and talk to me about tech, projects, anything you want, and I'll try to message you back. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.